Hello, I'm Mark Jenkins and welcome to my test studio in London. The idea of this studio is to include all the main methods of sound synthesis and keyboards and modules by all the main companies, so it's possible to compare one against another. The studio is based on Apple Logic, and at the heart of it is this Alesis Fusion workstation, which gives analog, FM, virtual and sound sampling. All the keyboards go into this Yamaha automated mixer, and there's a Korg corner here, a Roland Phantom, some smaller keyboards and alternative controllers like a Moog Cell Mini. The modular system is stacked up on a Kurzweil 2500, and there's a small system with Schlob modules, a large one with mostly Moog Behringer, and a portable system with hex inverter and other modules. More analog with a Behringer Odyssey and an Arturia matrix flute. The classic Moog Sonic 6, an Ovation Nova, and those all go into a small submixer. Finally, Korg's N1 and the Roland JD800, which has long been my favourite synthesizer, with a little sound canvas for some additional sounds, and a whole section here on guitars. Today we're looking at the opsix by Korg. It's one of a duo of keyboards put out by Korg, the other one being the Wavestate, which look back to methods of sound synthesis which were popular in the 1980s. Wavestate harks back to the old Wavestation, and opsix harks back to the Yamaha DX7. Now Yamaha at one point owned Korg, and so Korg ended up making a lot of FM synthesis keyboards using methods created by Dr. John Chowning. And while Yamaha was selling the DX7 and the DX9, Korg had a couple of FM synthesis keyboards such as the 707 and the DS8. But the difficulty with FM synthesis was that the sounds were new and striking, but it was difficult for players at home to make new ones. The opsix uses what's known as altered FM, and the basic idea of this is to give some new sound options and also to give controls which makes it easier to edit FM sounds. Let's just listen to a couple of sounds first. There's a lot of unusual sounds there, but sounds which were favourites from the DX7 are also here. So now we have a basic idea of the sound, let's look at the physical layout of the opsix. It's a compact keyboard with 3 octaves of full-size velocity sensitive keys. Pitch and modulation are placed above the keyboard, so the whole thing is quite small, and it's super lightweight with a mainly plastic rather than metal body. And at its centre, this large LCD display. On the back are MIDI in and out, USB, stereo audio out and headphone out, and a socket for a small external power supply. Now let's look at the way the FM synthesis sounds are put together. The opsix uses 6 oscillators, and these can be chosen to be audio or modulation oscillators. In this section on the left, you adjust the pitch and the level of each oscillator, and you'll get a quite different effect depending on whether you're changing pitch or changing modulation speed. Let's look at this basic electric piano sound, and we're going to change some of the oscillator levels. This one sounds like an analog filter, and this is the way FM synthesis works, by allowing harmonics to determine the tone of a sound instead of analog filters. So it's quite easy to change a sound substantially. If you aren't getting anywhere, you can always use this initialize button, which creates a completely random sound. Now that's quite innovative and something that I think I would enjoy using a lot. Let's look at these 6 data controls on the right hand side of the panel, and usually one of their functions is to change filter settings. Only a couple of FM synthesizers in the past have had conventional filters, and this one has a wide choice including 24 and 12 decibel, one imitating a Korg MS-20 and so on. And that's a more conventional analog-like sound with resonance on the filter. So you have some good analog synthesis style options on the opsix, not just FM. The data knobs also control effect settings. There are 3 different layers of effects available, and a huge choice from ensemble to phaser, flanger, exciter, delays and reverbs. And you can mix in the levels of effect you want. So we've looked at the FM synthesis algorithms, the filter and effects. Let's have a look next at the sequencer and arpeggiator. Each sound on the opsix comes with its own demo sequence. Let's have a look at that in a bit more detail. As you can see, the sequencer plays 16 polyphonic steps, but these 16 buttons have another function. If you switch to favorites, they'll give your 16 favorite sounds. That tubular bell was a DX7 favourite. While we're here, let's take a quick look at the arpeggiator function. You can of course latch the arpeggiator so it stays playing when you take your fingers off. video we've been looking at the Korg opsix, a compact new synthesizer which takes a new look at FM digital synthesis and adds analog-like filters and effects. It's also a highly compact keyboard, lightweight, take it anywhere. Selling in the UK at something over £500, and we'll just go out with a few final opsix sounds. Well, that's the end of that feature. I hope you enjoyed it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. There'll be a lot more to come.